Hi everybody, I am Trefle, technical animator and animation supervisor at Agora Studio, and we are very happy to share with you a set of tools that we are releasing for free for the community. So when you installed it, you will have in a menu all the tools that we are providing you guys, and it comes with a shelf also for ease of access. So installing them are very simple. First, you go to our website, you download it, and you will have this zipped package here. Just make sure to extract it. And after that, when it shows up here, just open it, go inside here and drag and drop the install.py onto your Maya viewport. And there it is. The tools are getting installed. They're there, and they're also added to your Maya preferences directory. So more information about the tool in general. They should work on 2022 and above. Might work prior to that, but we have tested them so far and they seem pretty stable on 2022 and above. So if we go through the list, there's the anim locator, which is kind of a tool that allows you to do space switches, convert attribute while maintaining the same transform in your scene. So let's say you want to convert something from chest space to world space. You can create also world space controllers that are floating inside of the scene. They don't have any hierarchy. So this way you can have your arm rotation in world space, even though maybe your rig does not allow that. Convert rotation order, etc. The more you use it, the more you will realize that it is very powerful and allow you to be creative with it. It's really nice. The anim tweener is similar to other animation tweener you have seen online. Smoothing curves, tweening, current pose, tweening many keys in the graph editor. Straightforward. FollowCam, this is basically a tool that allows you to create a camera that follows your character in space. So really handy if you want to do facial cam, if you want to have, a camera following the motorcycle that your character is on, so you don't have to always move your perspective camera. IKFK match, this is only for our rigs, only for our alpha, beta, delta, all those characters that you have seen on our website. Image plane, this is a tool to manage your image plane inside of your scene, create them, offset them more intuitively than what Maya does by default. Plus, when you use that to mute your image plane, they are not slowing down your scene anymore. Mirror cam, I'll show you, it's mirroring your current viewport. Super nice. Motion trail, you know what motion trails are, but the advantage of this one is it does not slow down your scene and it's not freezing your scene. With some caveats, I will explain you later in that video. Overlap tool, create in a click overlaps on your controllers. Edit the amount of overlap you want without rebaking your animation. And pan zoom is to allow you to do a 2D pan zoom onto your character, but this one is really nice. It does have tracking features. So the first tool that I want to talk about is the anim locator. So this tool can do so many things, but long story short is it creates for you controllers that are driving your controllers. So with that, you can do many things. Convert things into world space. So instead of having the chest, the head attached to the chest, and you don't see animation curve, you convert it into world space, but keep the same animation. And now you can actually see the animation curve of the rotation of your head. You can change rotate order. I don't know if you ever fell into that trap where you animate something and you don't have anymore a controller to rotate it in a specific axis. You can use this to help you with this kind of problem. Convert things to, let's say you have a head, there's a lot of animation happening and you want to control where the character is looking at instead of controlling rotation curve. You can do this with that. Let's jump into it. You will understand. So for example, here I have this awesome animation and accidentally I didn't pose my character and the hand is following the chest. Right now I wish to be able, let's say, to keep your hand on a table and move the chest while keeping the hand on the table. So you want to convert it to world space. So what I'm going to do is take my controller, put it in world. Notice that I don't have bake every frame checked on. So that means it will smart bake the keys. So now this controller, you can see it has constraints because it's green. So that is because this new controller here is driving that. So as you can see here, the animation of that controller is in world space. If you are not familiar enough with spaces, it might get confusing for sure. But I hope you will gain something from this tutorial. So the curves are now in world space. This means if I see translate Y, well, it's actually in world and it's not related to the chest, let's say. So yes, now if I move this, it is in world space. Of course, the rig has that feature, but it was hidden somewhere else, let's say. You might as well, at this point, just put the setting back to IK follows 0, for example. This is the setting to make the IK hand floating, not following the chest. So I will put it back now at 0, make sure there's no key on it. So as soon as I select back the controller and hit local, it will convert the keys to use that new attribute settings, but still keep the poses. So now I still have the same animation, but it is now in, it's not following the chest anymore. So that's one use for it. Another use for it, whoops, sorry. Let me delete that. Another use for it is, let's say you wanted to polish the head looking direction. Something here is aim space. So you click on that and I would keep the default setting, apply aim space. Now we have world space controllers that are actually controlling where the character is looking. So you can use that to polish your animation, fix noise that you have sometime in your animation. You can even track these controllers to see where there's micro noises, etc. There's so much you can do with that. Another example is right click, translate only. This one we use it a little bit less. Rotate only is much more frequent. So let's say here I have this setting. So if I rotate the hips, the chest is following as well. I don't want that. I want the controller to be in the rotation. I want to keep the same pose, but have the rotation in world space, rotation only. I'm going to do that. So it creates a controller in rotation only. So now if I rotate this down, whoops, we have a little problem with dependency here. So ignore this example. I will make another one with the hand, for example. Rotation only. So now when I move the arm, the hand will keep the same rotation axis as it had before. So this can serve so many purposes. I just hit Control X, I froze my scene, be right back. Okay, so another thing with this is, let's say you need to bake a locator just to send to another team because they want to have the position of the character in space. What you can do is do a detached controller. So this creates a controller that is floating in space. It does not constrain anything to anything. It's just a floating controller that mind its own business. Different pivot. This is, let's say that you have a controller here, but you want to actually pivot it from another point. So let's say that you want to rotate this, but from the tip, because your rig maybe doesn't have a roll tip controller. So I will make a different pivot. I choose where the pivot is. Apply pivot. So it keeps now the same poses, but you can, oops, I didn't have the good controller selected. You can rotate it from that new pivot. So yes, target. This is, let's say that you have a sword and you want it to follow the hand. So what you can do is, let me create something quick. All right, so here's my sword and I want it to be following the hand. Well, I could possibly even do this, select another controller, target. So now by doing this, it will create a controller that is following, now I only had one keys, the target controller. So this is really useful if you want a specific space switch that doesn't exist, possibly. You do this. And when you're happy, you click back on local. So I might as well now show bake every frame method. If I do this, local, it will bake what it's driving. Oh yeah, of course. Let me undo that. Seconds. Okay, there you go. So what it does is it bakes every frame, but the range of frame is only that. So I will just make sure that I have one key here and one key here. So now let me actually set only a key here so you understand how it works. Local, it will bake every frame, but it will bake all these keys right here. All right, there you go. So it baked it, but using this range only. So I think I broke something. Sorry for that. I will investigate that after. So yes, there are so many features in this tool. We will continue working on it to fix bugs, but it is very, very powerful. Have some fun with it and let us know what you think. Okay, so next we have the tweener tool. This one, you should expect a different user interface in the next few days because we want to make it prettier. And to use it, you need to keep in mind that there's hotkeys. So if you drag holding shift, if you drag holding control, it will behave differently. So for now, I will keep that open so you can refer to it while I'm explaining them. So first, simply clicking on it. So drag will drag to neighbor, either the pose on the left, the pose on the right. I will make these key auto so you can, so it's clearer for you guys. So yeah, basically you tween one side, the other. It copies the pose next to it. If you only wanted the rotate Y, well, you can even select the channel and do this. It will only impact the rotate Y. If you happen to have your selections in the viewport, in the graph editor, sorry, it will drag as well to their individual neighbors. Something cool also is that if, let's say, you were to have all of this selected, you drag it, it will drag it gradually to meet the point. So let's say you're, I don't know, working with mocap or something, and you do have this gap. Well, you can select this and drag to remove the big gap. Things like that. So next we have control drag. Well, this is basically to bring values to 0. So if I wanted this to be toned down, I could control drag and it will fade a little bit. If I go all to the end, it will go back to 0. If you do the opposite, well, it will multiply it. So you can increase poses with that if you want. Shift, this will just smooth the curve. You see noise here, for example. Well, I will hold down Shift, smooth, and you see it smooth it. So if I'm doing the same with this, well, I might need to drag a few times to get something more fluid. Shift, Alt, and drag. This is, if you have seen Animbus, this is similar to it. For example, you select it, Shift, Alt, and drag, and it will either remove the bump or you can increase it. So this also works, let's say, if you, if I were to select a range here and now use it, I want to smooth that, holding Shift, drag, and it will act on, well, right now I'm confusing because I didn't have the proper thing selected. But let's say this, I will select all these keys, simply drag, and it selects it automatically into your graph editor. So to recap, it works on selection. It works either on your timeline selection or the selected channel. And if you have none of that, it will simply act on the current frame and add a new key. So next we have the follow cam. So let's say that here I have this animation and it's kind of annoying having to always move the camera to exit every single poses I have. So what I'm gonna do instead is I will select a controller that I want my camera to always be following, and I will click on this. So I still can move the camera, but now magically when I scrub the timeline, it follows the controller. So that is very helpful for so many situations. You have a character, in a scene with a motorcycle, moving in space, whatever, you need to follow this. You want to set yourself a second viewport that is always following the character while you keep the perspective view intact. It's super flexible. So if I go here, it's being added here, just so you know. So I deleted it. Other feature, if you right click on it, there's translate and rotate. So that would be handy. Let's say you want to make a facial cam to animate the face. You will select that, translate and rotate, and boom, you have a face cam. Translate horizontally, so that is also a good example for the motorcycle scene. Someone is on a motorcycle, there's bumps and all that stuff. You want to feel these bumps, but you just want the camera to follow horizontally. Well, you will select your controller, translate horizontally, and it will follow it, but not go up and down. So of course that defeats the purpose of this shot here where the character goes up, but here you can see what it does. And clicking this will just delete all the follow cam in your scenes. And next we have the IKFK match tool. I will make sure that we write it here, but this is strictly for these set of characters. So alpha, beta, delta, and other rigs that we are doing at Agora. So let's say, for example, here that I want this arm to be IK just for that frame. I will choose current as a range, toggle, because I want it to be the opposite of what I currently have, and match. So let's say that for the second half of the shot, I want it, this entire time range to be in, let's say if I go here, to be in IK, sorry. Well, I will make toggle now because now it's in FK, or I can do FK to IK. I will select that, match, so it converts the current time range to IK. Great. Now, if I go back, now we have a problem. There's FK, there's IK, and I want to clean that. Or let's say that I submit my shot, and in between frames, when there's IKFK matches, there's a blur issue. You want to normalize this, even though it's baked on every frame here. Let's say that it was not baked. You could click bake. Let me just delete some keys here so you understand. So I would click on bake and I will hit normalize. So that, what it will do is it will just, if the current frame is FK, it will make sure that throughout the entire time range, I will do all now, it is the same. So there's no switch. So for example, if it's a long scene and you need to normalize all the IKFK match, well, you can select the 4 limbs, normalize, all, bake, click this, and you're sure that there's no IKFK switch anymore inside of your scene. So I think I broke something, probably because of the anim layer. So I hope this makes sense. Let me know when you're playing with it if you are facing any bugs. Our next tool is the image plane. So of course you can create yourself image plane in your scene. That's not a problem if you're familiar with it. But I'm sure that if you have used image plane before, when you want to offset them in time, it is not intuitive. You have to negate the value of offset and of the frame start, then the offset you have to do plus minus 1. I don't remember. This is so confusing. So we made it intuitive. So the frame start is going to be where your video start playing, and offset is a literal offset. So you put -10, it will go backward of 10 frames. So it's super intuitive. And also, I will talk about that later. So first, let's import a reference. So I will do that, and let me just go here. I will select that path. I double click on it, and it gets added automatically to my scene. Sometimes there's a bug where you just need to refresh the view for it to play. There you go. So you can see myself doing some crazy stuff. And if we go back here to the attribute editor to see what is happening, frame start, I will put 20. Then, like I said, it will start playing at frame 20. So this is much more intuitive than these that you have to offset, blah, blah, blah. And if you wanted, you could do a time remap. So it creates keys on the image number. So if you open that, and let's say you put a few frames on the images you like. You select these, you put step. So now guess what? You have a reference, in step. So you could also use that to retime your stuff if you wanted the timing to be different. You can, if you do this time equal -1, it flips it. So now it will play backward. One huge advantage of using this is that if you hide them, they are not slowing down your scene. Did you know that when you're having image playing under a camera, even though there might be nothing attached to it, it is slowing down the scene quite often, especially if you are using heavy files, things like that. Using that will help you a lot, will accelerate your scene. It will find in a click all the image frames that are in your scene. Sometimes you kind of lost them, it's hidden under a camera, things like that. Everything is there. So when you see it, right now it's attached to my perspective camera. If I were to have another camera, so camera, you select it, you can change on which camera it is being attached. Do you want it to be visible in all views? Yes, no, up to you. With these, you can hide or show all of them at once in a click. And this is to change the resolution. Let's say that you are having a square reference and you want to scale it to your camera. Use these. And of course, the last thing I haven't talked about is this opacity if you need to make it transparent. And if you were to be on your camera and you want it to be very small, well, you can select it, resize it. Where is it again? With this, translate it down. It is here, and you want it in front of your camera, possibly. Well, you can just take that and put the depth to 2. So now it is being in front of your camera, really, really close to it. And that's it for this tool. So the next tool that I want to show you is the mirror cam. This one will be the quickest video of all because you click it, it mirrors your cam. And you can keep working on it if you'd like to set a controller or whatever, do your animation. And the thing is, it's not mirroring your scene at all, and it's only mirroring the current camera you are in. So this is very, very nice to, let's say that you want to have a different perspective over your animation. Sometimes when things are flipped, you see details that you have not seen before. And that's pretty much it. The cameras are being created here under mirror cam. So even though you are not you go back to perspective, you do your work, and you want to go back into that mirrored camera, you can right click here and you can see them. So I would go back into the perspective mirrored for whatever reason. Normally you would go into the perspective of your camera, of shot camera, most of the time. You do what you want. All right, so the next tool I'm going to show you is the trail tool. This one, like I said in the quick overview, it's really, really nice because it is never slowing down your scene. It's not freezing Maya, and I will show you why. So here I will just close it for now. Be sure that you have the motion trail turned on. And now, let's say that I want to track what's happening with the hand over here until the end. Trail enable, and it draw a trail for you. So yeah, it's really, really simple. It's a simple trail. There's no much feature to it beside auto track, which is interesting. If I change my controller, it will track that new controller selected. I can turn that off. If I wanted to change what controller I'm tracking, I can as well track object. And if, let's say, for any reason it bugs you to always see the trail updating, well, you can turn the update trail to off, and you're doing your modification. And when you are ready, you click update trail and it will update it. So to come back on what we were saying is this is a really, really nice tool because it is not freezing Maya, it is not crashing it. And the reason why is that it is never calculating on top of you. You work and it will not, process things in the background, preventing you to work, or Maya accidentally calculate two things at the same time. It only calculates if nothing is happening. So let's say that I track the object and right away I start moving the camera. You see, it stops calculating. You release, there it goes. It continues. So with this, it's never freezing Maya, which is very, very nice. There was cases where controller, you have it here, you track it, and the tracker are completely away. That is still happening. This is how the rigs are being calculated. These rigs are fine, but other rigs can't. But you will have the same thing with the Maya tracking tool. You will have the same thing with Animbots, with most trackers. So that is one limitation. And beside that, yes, here you can change how many keys you see. So if you choose 3, well, you only see 3 frame after, 3 frame before. And to increase stability, sometimes you might not see the curve updating. To see it update, just drag your timeline. It will refresh it again. And if I'm showing the last feature is per camera. So if I'm going back to my camera and I want to track the character, let's say the hips in space, to see if it's not like wiggling, I will set this to my camera name. I will track this object, add some of it here, and now it follows it, but it shows you the curve in camera space instead. If I were to bring it back to world, you see, now it's in world space. Have fun with it. The next tool is the overlap tool. So this one is quite simple. It's not a dynamic tool. It only does overlap in the sense that, well, if you had something moving very, very fast, it would do an overlap. It will not do a overshoot and all that stuff. For this, that would be a separate thing. There's tools online to do that, but it's really, really unstable most of the time. So this one is really stable, but it's just the rotation. So let me show you how it works. So here we have the hair and we want to do a quick overlap pass on it. So I will select the controller in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are FK controller. And I will hit create. Now it bakes something. I will show you why after. So now we do have the overlap pass on it. Woohoo! And what's cool about it is that you can edit the frame offset without having to bake everything again. So I would just reduce that. So each controllers are now offset by 0.5 frames. So that will reduce the overlap amount by a lot. So you're happy with that? You bake this. I click something. Okay, no, everything's fine. So yeah, we have this here. You want to make it bigger. Well, you increase it. Now the overlap is more noticeable. Here's crash because the head is going too fast. Yeah, so now remember it acts on the time range. So you could bake it on 8.8 on that range, 0.2 on the other one, up to you. But normally when you set an overlap on something, it's temporary, and I always recommend to bake it as soon as possible. So, and now I will show you why it was calculating something at first. So I will remove it. And the reason is that right now it's the 0 pose, but if I were to choose that here I absolutely want to hit that pose, let's say with long hair, here I want it back, sorry, so that's my pose. Here, this is the long hair pose. I will delete that. So it's basically, sorry, my example is not clear. Let me do something instead. So I will just animate that quickly. So I choose that pose, that pose. I want to make sure I hit that pose also with a little translation. That pose. And with that pose, let's say, because that is a nice looking pose from the camera view, I will delete these. When I hit create, what it does is it takes in consideration the current pose. So you don't lose your current pose, and it tries to follow them as much as possible. Here I still have my nice pose I wanted at the end, and I still can, without baking anything, reduce or increase the overlap amount. Let me know if you have any questions. The next tool that I want to talk about is the 2D pan zoom tool. You probably are aware already of that 2D pan zoom tool. Let me know. Yeah, that is my hotkey. That allows you to zoom in 2D just to see your character closer. Let's say you want to see it. You want to see the face because you want to work on the face. But then when you scroll, you lose the face. So that is the default 2D pan zoom tool. But this one is awesome because if you were to select a controller, you click track. Now what it does is it tracks that controller in 2D. So if you were to drag while you have this on, you can see that it zooms in on your controller in 2D. So that is very, very useful. Let's say that you have characters walking and you want to look at the feet closely to see if there's no interpenetration. You want to do, just like that, a facial pass on your characters, but from the camera view, instead of just doing it from the perspective camera or face cam, whatever. With that, you can zoom onto it. Yeah, it can serve many purposes, but that is kind of the same thing as default, but with a really, really nice bonus that makes it much more stable. Sorry, not stable, but useful. And yeah, you can turn out off if you want.